How's that? Better? You hear me now? How's that? You got sound now? Hello? Sound? No? Okay. Yeah, I had a button pushed off there. Anyway, so 12 years ago, we kicked off the Hard Rock and Sports Show on July 31st, 2014. 12 years later, the show has progressed. That's right. We started out with a bunch of, thank you very much, Anthony. Yes, we started out with a bunch of frequent callers, like I was just saying, people like my cousin Todd and Giuseppe Dante and Mike Passamonte. My dad, if I didn't say that already, we had 7 or 8, and somewhere along the line, about the 4th episode, Jeff started to call in and became a regular caller. Then progressed up to started with little segments like reviewing CDs I would give him from different bands. Progressed his way up to part-time host for an hour or so each show. And to finally his regular full-time role. I don't even know how long. It's got to be 7 years, 8 years, 9 years now that Jeff's been a regular on the show. Hold on, I'm getting some private messages. Let me see what they are. Thank you, Jeff. I'm about to get you on there, brother. So anyway, we've had a great 12 years. It's funny. Sometimes there are days and weeks and months that I go, okay, I've had 2 dates already in my brain to this point where I thought I would end the show, and I haven't told anybody, not even Jeff. My wife, nobody knows the date, and I've passed those dates. I get to that point, we get re-energized and we do it again. And while we're not as strict about the shows, we'll miss a couple here and there. We still kind of love getting together and talking and laughing and having you guys all with us. So it's been a lot of fun. We've had some great guests over the years. I'm going to get into it with Jeff in a minute, but everybody from George Foreman and Pete Rose and Geezer Butler and Jeff Tate and I'm telling you, I was talking about it with one of our former producers the other day, and it was amazing. KK Downing, Ripper Owens. Tommy John, Ron Bloomberg, Brian Doyle, so many just amazing people that we've, guys we grew up watching and listening to and having them on the show. And there's been some great moments along the way. Lita Ford was phenomenal. And you guys, you can go to Spotify and find some of these old shows and find a lot of the old interviews, all the old interviews. Mark Farner from Mark Farner and so many. Again, there's so many people. Michael Wilton, Michael Sweet, Joe Satriani. Boy, oh boy, Jeff Pilson, Brian Tishy. We've Rudy Sarzo. We've got to talk to so many people back in the day, and it's just amazing to me, where we started to where we are at, and it's been a blast. I got to tell you, I've had so much fun, and I've gotten to talk to so many people, and it's harder now because there's so many people doing it. When we started, nobody was doing it. Phil Collins from Def Leppard was a 3-time regular. We've had so many guests, and now it's like impossible to get a guest because there's so many. Why come on this show? You can go on. There's celebrities, there's movie stars, there's athletes, politicians. Everybody's got a show. So why come on this little show when you can go on one of those shows where they're getting millions of people? So back then nobody was doing this. There really wasn't, and now everybody's doing it. So God bless. I've had a blast. We've had such great guests on the show, and again, you can go to YouTube, check out our YouTube page. It's got a lot of the old interviews broken down. It's got all the old shows, videos are out there. Spotify has every show back to the very first one. Obviously, no video, so if you want to go back and listen in, you can listen to all the old shows. I don't know if you want to, but there were some great moments. You can go back and you'll see I made sure that most of the interviews are listed. So you can go back and pick out if you want to hear, Rudy Sarzo tell us about hearing pigs running down the streets for New Year's and, George Foreman's list of his favorite band to warm up to, and Geezer Butler. And again, we've had so many crazy stories. Vinny Appice, Carmine Appice. All great. So, again, we're celebrating 12 years. I thank you all for being part of it. I want to get Jeff on. We got a lot to talk about tonight, including our anniversary. And so much. A lot of football talk tonight. We got LeBron. We got Tony Iommi's got a new solo album out. Tony Romo, Anthony Fauci. I want to get a little bit of that. A lot of football tonight. And it will be, guys. This show's built on it. And we sit around all year waiting for it to start and go through. And every week you'll see that we kind of just roll through the football tide. So sit back. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the kind words from people. And sit back. Let me get Jeff on. And let's get the show kicked off right here. Hard Rock and Sports. Oh, we got to take off the hold on. Sorry, guys. Let me do a little bit of, I forgot to get rid of that. Let's put the... Wow, it's been a while, huh? Hold on a second, guys. And 31st. Save. And post. All right. And let's get that up. And let's, again, we got to bring on my co-host, my brother, my buddy, 40-something years. We got to be 44 years, 45 years right now. We've been friends. And I look forward to doing this show every week with him. And even though most of his commentary is nonsense, I still like having him around. It's kind of like having, your retarded cousin. He's going to say stupid things, but you enjoy it. It makes you laugh. I'm going to bring on my semi-retarded cousin, Mr. Jeff Black as Sabbath Tomwinski. Hi, Jeff.
What's up?
Jeff, how was your week?
Well, Tom, the Giants are going to suck this year.
Yeah, I told you, folks. I told you.
Scatterboo is going to be another stint on the injured reserve. The Jets will definitely lead New York to the promised land before the Giants even know what the fuck is going on.
Okay.
That's all I got to say.
That's all you got? That's the best you got?
For right now, I'm going to just, when you start talking, I'm just going to add stuff in.
I would tell you this. This is what I would say. First off, Jeff, how was your week?
Sucked. I was at work.
That's the norm. That's the norm. Jeff, happy anniversary. We are celebrating our 12th year. And I was given some highlights. If you had to narrow down maybe your top 5 moments, interviews, could you knock it down quick?
Oh wow. Well, let's see. There's a lot of them. Geezer Butler was great. Ross the Boss was great.
Oh, great guy. He actually liked us. It's funny.
Yeah. George Foreman was great.
Absolutely.
Those really stuck out a lot for me. I know there was a couple that you did on your own, because of times and everything else. But, there was so many of them. I mean, we did George Foreman 2 or 3 times.
Yep.
So he was on there.
Tachiani was great.
I don't think I was there for that one.
Yeah, you were, because we did a lot of jet talking. We did a lot of jets. I'm almost positive you were there.
I don't remember Satriani, to tell you the truth.
Okay.
And then they, listen, most of them were very good. Vinny Appice was incredible.
Vinny Appice, between them 2 or 3 times. He loved us so much that he got Carmine on. And Matt, I've reached out to Richie Zambora a dozen times. Nothing. I think once I got a response from somebody and they said they'd get back to me and still haven't heard. So, yeah, listen, there's a lot of people we would love to talk to. I got to talk to KK Downing. That was fun. Jeff Tate, 3 or 4. It got to the point where I would say, I would hear from his people and I'd be like, I don't want to talk to him anymore. Like, I just have nothing to say to Jeff Tate.
Jeff Tate was a bit of a strange guy, the way that he acts, just the way he acted.
Yes.
It was cool to talk to him and everything. I think I like talking to Michael Wilton better than I did.
I agree with you. I agree. I enjoyed Michael Wilton interviews much better. He was on 2 or 3 times. Brian Tichy, Jeff Pilson.
Matter of fact, I can actually see why Queensryche broke up and why they had a problem with him. After talking to him.
He was an arrogant guy. Yes, Matt. The singer from TNT was great. He was a lot of fun. Again, the guy from the God. What was the guy's name from the Gods?
Oh, what the fuck, man!
The old guy.
I don't even remember. Yeah, some some guy died.
Yeah, and yes, he died. Right, we were either.
You know, I also just want to reiterate:
Sure.
don't think that this show is not without tragedy, because a lot of your guests
Oh yeah.
have died after
Oh
coming
yeah.
on this show. Of
Yeah,
course, they can't come on the show in a spinal tap moment. They can't come on the show after they died, so they
but
had to come on the show before they died. But Ross the Boss,
yeah.
the guy from the Rods, who we can't name now,
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, I'm
uh,
talking about the gods, not the rods. That guy was
gods, yeah,
the gods. Yeah.
George Foreman,
Yep. Yeah. Pete
and maybe
Rose.
missing one or two.
Pete
Yeah,
Rose.
Pete Rose, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Few
no
of them.
wonder you can't get fucking guests. They're afraid to come on the show.
Black Cloud following the show. But yeah, listen, it's funny. I mean, Carmine Appice, I mean, at least 3 times we had Carmine on. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, actually, we didn't have Carmine on. Carmine had us on this show.
Yes. But
Because he wouldn't shut the fuck up.
You know what I was loved about Carmine? He would tell you, I know I'm talking too much, and then keep talking too much.
He wouldn't even come near close to stopping.
No, Kazim Sultan's been on the show a few times. It came down to one of our appearances, right? I mean, that was pretty cool.
He was very cool, man. Kazim Sultan, very nice guy. He was cool.
Yeah.
And did I ever tell you about Kazim? I have another Kazim Sultan story.
Is that the one you ran to in the mall?
Did I tell you? Did I? Well, when I used to work in this rehearsal studio,
okay,
he came in and he was supposed to leave picks or something for the guy.
Right.
So he left picks. So when I was talking to him, he left me the picks. So I was like, okay, I guess I get to take whatever I want, and I'll leave one for him. And when next time I saw him, I told him, and he was like, really? He goes, you were supposed to leave them all for me, and then I would have given you something. And I was like, well, you weren't here, and I got to meet Kazim Sultan, so he gave them to me, and I took them, and he got all pissed off at me, but whatever.
He was for those who know Kazim Sultan, he's been in a bunch of bands, but his claim to fame was being part of the Bat Out of Hell album, correct? With Meatloaf.
It was hard to say what his claim to fame was. He played on so many different albums and with bands. He was everywhere. I was even afraid that he was going to take my spot in a few bands. And yes, Anthony, Lita Ford was just literally answering questions like, do you want lettuce on there? Yes. Tomatoes? No. Just simple. I was like texting Tommy. I was like, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, the first 3 questions, I believe, she was just like, no, yes, okay. I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good.
Pain.
And then all of a sudden she started, and Lita Ford claimed to have invented the ripped jean look, right? She claimed that Eddie Van Halen wore her underwear and clothes. She claimed that he climbed out a window when her boyfriend came home. Is that correct?
Yes.
She had a couple other wild claims, like she invented all these different things. And the funny part was, and I've told the story on the show, and I'll tell you it again because I enjoy it. When Nikki booked her for the show, it was specific. We weren't allowed to talk to her about her ex-husband and the divorce. Now, if anybody doesn't know the story, Lita Ford married some guy from one of those metal bands.
Chris Holmes from Wasp.
No. There was a different guy. It's a different guy. She married him. He had 2 kids. Big, heavy, like a wrestler / metal singer. I can't think of his name. He had mohawk. Anyway, so she married him, and then he moved her to this island, and they moved to an island, had kids, and he basically kept her there. And then at some point she broke away. They had a big thing, and then he accused her of being a bad mom, and he wound up with custody of the kids. He did climb out the window, but he used to go over her house to drink alcohol and then go back to his house. So that was
his name was James Gillette.
Yes, that's it.
He was an original member of a band called Tough. They were gay.
Yeah, I know the second singer from Tough, Stevie Rochelle. He was roommates with my brother in California. In fact, I have a call. He's a jerk off. But yeah, so Jim Gillette.
Who, your brother?
No, well, him too. But so Lita Ford is going through this really bad divorce custody thing, and his manager tells Nikki she'll come on, but you can't mention the divorce. You can't mention the ex-husband. Nothing. So it's all right. I don't really give a shit. I was saying this ain't Howard Stern. I'm not getting into personal stuff. I just want to talk to Lita Ford. And sure enough, we start talking, and I asked her about her new album, which was actually pretty good. And she started talking about her ex, and I let it go because I was told not to. And then she brought it up again. And the next thing you know, it was no holds barred for a good hour. And she just talked about everything. And again, talking about how she invented ripped jeans look. You know, she saw some guy on a pole, like a lineman, with ripped jeans, and she bought the jeans from him and she wore them. I'm like, why wouldn't you just go home and cut up a pair of your own jeans? Like, I don't get that, but she was wacky, but a great.
Yeah, I had to go to the doctor after that. I had fucking pus coming out of orifices that shouldn't have come from. They said it was from her.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, boy.
And
yeah, I asked her if female musicians like her had groupies, like the guys had after the show, and she said, no, I only dated, rock stars. Like, I was not going after people in the audience. I would go bang, Tony Iommi, who would then come out and choke me to death, half to death.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying what she wrote in her book. I'm just quoting her book. Otherwise, so Lita Ford was one of my favorites. It's probably the one that there are a bunch of people that I know, and every time I run into them, they go, remember that interview you did with Lita Ford? And I go, yeah, it's a great interview. Mark Farner was a great interview, great guy. Again,
Brian Darrell.
Yeah, Brian Doyle was great. Ron Bloomberg. It's funny, and I know we're talking a little bit about the show, and I want to get a little bit of time with the anniversary. When I emailed George Foreman on a Sunday night, and then Monday morning, I get a phone call at work. I don't recognize the number, and I answer the phone. It's like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, and they go, and maybe a little later because it's probably like 10:30, whatever. It doesn't matter. And I pick up the phone. I go, hello. He goes, Tom, Big George Foreman here. Like, Mr. Foreman, how are you? I'm sitting in the dentist chair. I got your email. When you need me, when you want me. And he was on the show, and he came back twice. He liked us enough that he did the show twice.
Yeah.
It was funny. I think Jeff asked him, like, when you're warming up for about, what was the song you listened to? And we would kid around. Like, we thought it had to be like Motown or, maybe some rock song, from one of those bands back in the 70s. And he goes, oh, when I get warming up, ABBA. I loved ABBA. And we're like, ABBA? Like, well, first off, what gay guy warms up to ABBA? But okay, it's Big George Foreman. I ain't going to say anything. And sure enough, he was doing a reality show at the time with Henry Winkler and Terry Bradshaw and somebody else escaping me. Henry Winkler, Terry Bradshaw, George Foreman, and William Shatner. And they were going like all these crazy things all over the world. And one of the shows, they took him to see an ABBA tribute show. And ABBA walked in the door, and he was all blah, 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 all goofy over it. So, we learned a lot of stuff. We were talking about like the 68 Olympics. The one thing he remembered was getting pooped on by the pigeons as they released the pigeons. He told a bunch of cool stories. So, say to Ron Bloomberg, I'm driving home from work one day. I emailed Ron Bloomberg a couple days before, get a phone call, strange number. Hello, Tom, Ron Bloomberg. How are you? How you doing, big guy? Next thing you know, we got Ron Bloomberg. He's telling Mickey Mantle stories. Tommy John may be the greatest guest we ever had, talking about Billy Martin was a racist and banging his wife in his office and hookers and like, oh my God, that guy had no filter whatsoever.
Yeah, I remember that.
But listen, Tony Geezer Butler was a great one. I just listened to that interview recently. That was a lot of fun. So, I mean, listen, it has been some great moments along the way. Some of the battles between Jeff and Dominic Ginta, God rest his soul, and the trial of the. I just listened to the trial of the half men. But he didn't. He didn't show up for it, but we did. Jeff took the half man to court and convicted him.
The half man. Yeah.
There's a few what I'll call the white whales. McCartney, I've tried to get. There's been a bunch of guys that I would love. Bruce Dickinson, Steve Harris, I've tried. Rob Halford.
get Paul McCartney. You would have a better chance of getting George Foreman on the show before you get Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to hang out with me, Jeff, and Frank Catalano on a Thursday night, Paul?
I tell you, a couple people that we were this close. I mean, I thought they were literally coming on the show. Joe Klecko was this close. Like I was down to like I was almost submitting like blood tests. I mean, I give him so much information, and we were targeting dates. That one bothered me, but I didn't get Harry Shearer, otherwise known from his final
Derek Smalls.
Sorry, we almost had Derek Smalls. And it's funny because when I asked for him, they said, "Oh, he'll come on, but only if he can come on as Derek Smalls." I was like, "We don't really want Harry Shearer. We want Derek Smalls, by the way, so it's okay."
Yeah.
And again, down to picking dates, and then all of a sudden disappeared. There's been a few of those. I don't think I've ever. There's a bunch of bands that I always wanted to try, but I never tried, like the Van Halen guys, and another great guy, and a lot of you guys might not know who he is, but Damon Johnson from Brother Kane, and I think now he's in either not. I don't think he's in Skinner, but he's in another couple of big bands. He's a great guy, big sports fan, big Auburn football fan. He's been on a bunch of times. Rudy Sarzo was another guy. 2 or 3 interviews with Rudy Sarzo. Those were great interviews. Yeah. But again, athletes are really hard to get, or they were, and even harder now. Musicians were easy for the most part. Again, now, I tried forever.
You got to remember, an athlete is signed a contract and makes, God knows, tens of millions of dollars. Some of these guys that we got on that were musicians, if they weren't touring, they were probably working at Stop and Shop, doing the carts in the parking lot to make extra money until they went back out on the road.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because what's his name used to be in not TNT. He was in he's now the lead singer for Accept.
Oh, what the fuck was his name? He was in God damn it.
He was in TT Quick?
Yeah, Mark Granello or something like that.
Mark something, yeah.
Mark Chanillo or something like that.
Chanillo, yeah. So funny you said it, because I was talking to him and he said just before he got the Accept gig, he was already training to go back to being an electrician. He said all the years, this, that, and the other thing, you should put. You know what it is, Frankie? I had all the interviews saved, right, on a thumb drive. I don't know. I can't find the thumb drive. They're all on Spotify. You can go on Spotify. You can find every single show going way back. The problem is I can't find a way to get my stuff off of Spotify. I wanted to play a bunch of shows, and you can't download them and play them on your show. Even though I own the rights to it, I haven't found a way to get it. I'm going to try to email Spotify and see what I can do to get them to get access to them. So I'm going to try that. I don't know if it's going to work. But a lot of the interviews, Mark Farner, Lita Ford, a bunch of Ross the Bosses, Tommy John, there's a bunch of them on YouTube. If you go to Hard Rock and Sports YouTube, you could find a whole bunch of those interviews, and I cut them out of the show and just gave you the interview. So, Mark,
speaking of YouTube, I was watching some videos on YouTube last night. Ask me what I was watching.
Hard Rock and Sports Band.
No, almost. I saw them on the sideline. I didn't click on it. I felt a little too narcissistic clicking on my own videos that I was in.
Okay. All right. So I have no idea.
Okay. I was clicking on the downfall of the 2026 Denver Broncos.
That's what you were watching?
That's what I was watching. And it gave a step-by-step implosion of what's going to happen. Yes, with Bo Nix, and everything that he's going to go through this year. Interesting. And they also said as the credits were rolling up, what was that guy's name? Shit. The running back that had 3 good games in a row.
Get last year 3 good games? Or
No. He parlayed it into the Hall of Fame.
Terrell Davis?
Yeah, that's him. They said he don't belong in there either.
And he's got to give his jacket back this year.
Well, he can't find it. He sold it for crack money. That's what they said in the video.
Well, so again, we just been talking about the good old days and how this got started and where we're at. And I have to say, it's still a lot of fun. And I wish we could get some guests like every once in a while. But the reason athletes were harder because they weren't promoting things. Like the band guys, nowadays there was anything they could do to tell you they were putting out a new record or they were touring or they had some sort of merch. So
Yeah, because they're not getting paid. The sports guys, like I said,
yeah,
they're already they sign a massive contract. They don't want to hang out and waste their time with
yeah.
guys like us unless they're making money off of it or something because they're already made their millions and millions of dollars. They don't have time to hang out with guys like us.
I agree. So it was really, really hard to get active players. In fact, we never got an active player. We got, but again, it was fun to talk to guys like, again, KK Down. I talked to KK Down. It was midnight in England. It was great. Here's a guy that, I won't say I idolized, but I loved the band. It was great to talk to him and get some of those, Judas Priest stories. And, it was, like I said, Rudy Sarzo and all, telling us Randy Rhoads stories and Ozzy stories. Guys like Neil Turbin, who I was never a big fan of, but, got to know a little bit more after interviewing him. Again, I think we've had 200 guests.
Jeez,
yeah, again, some were, not necessarily the biggest names.
Keep going. I got to run to the shitter real quick.
But we got the opportunity to do. For a while we were doing 3 interviews a week. Joey was the original. Joey wanted to do interviews all day, and I was like, Joe, I want to talk. I get it. Maybe nobody wants to hear me talk, but the idea of this is I want to talk. I don't want to do 3 interviews a week. One good interview, and then maybe one, not so good interview a week was enough for me, and still would be. And we went from 3 hours a week, and we used to run over sometimes, and we would do 4 hours. We'd go 6 to 10 sometimes, just talking and interviewing, and having a lot of local people on. I think the biggest show we ever had was Joe Lynn Turner. That's right. We had Joe Lynn Turner. That was the biggest show to that point. We had 8,000 people listen to that show. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot of things, but, when you're this little radio show talking from your wife's sewing room and you're talking to Joe Lynn Turner and the next day you look at the stats and there's 8,000 people, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, that's the problem. They look at the show and that guy's going out to poop in the middle of it. It doesn't do much for the advertisements. So, but again, getting in, getting messages during your week from Carmine Appice. Say, hey, I want to come on the show and promote this other band. I want to come on and talk about my book, and I'll send you a copy of that. That kind of stuff is just, it's stuff. It's little things. It's kind of like going back to my days working for Fox Sports. And you go to a game and you're in the elevator with Jim Rice, or you're hanging on the bench with the Mets. It's little things like, there's nothing special about it other than it's just a unique experience, and getting to interview some of those people and hearing some of the behind the scenes stories was a lot of fun. And, again, I think some were disappointing. The Rex Brown interview was a little disappointing, I thought. There was a few that you were kind of like, this guy's, like I said, Jeff Tate. I got to the point where I was stopping returning emails from Jeff Tate's people because it was like, he was boring and arrogant.
He wasn't very fun, Jeff Tate.
Yeah.
He matter of fact, he was just strange in his own way. Like,
yes, very, very much. Listen, legendary chain, great band, all of that. But I'll tell you what. So we were interviewing him, and I always tried to find something different. Like, if a guy was a big sports fan, like Ross the Boss was a huge Met fan and Giant fan. So we had a lot of fun talking sports with him. In fact, he owned a batting cage in Queens.
we should have went to that.
Yeah, Ripper Owens. Yeah, exactly. Ripper Owens was a huge sports fan. Loved like the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Browns. So, even Geezer Butler was a big sports fan. I had no idea. He was a big Cardinals fan and all that. So the idea was to try to get these guys talking about things that they were different than what they normally would talk about. How's the album? What with the band? How about this guy? So it was a lot of fun to get some of those guys onto topics outside of, and again, I was no big fan of Man of War or what was his other band? What was the punk band? Not
the Dictators.
Yes, I wasn't a huge fan, but I liked that Ross the Boss. He was a really nice guy. Phil Collins from Def Leppard and I love the story you told that the very first gig they did after Rick Allen lost his arm, and they came back. They were ready to start, I guess, the Pyromania tour. And the very first show they did was on Staten Island at Granny Funyuns, which I had never heard before. And he said that was our very first gig. I said, how does Def Leppard go play Granny Funyuns, getting ready to go out on a world tour? But that's what they did. And a lot of it,
they at that time, I mean, yes, of course, they were getting to be a big band, but they weren't what they are today. Well, in their heyday.
Yeah.
Shouldn't even say what they were in their time, but they were a bigger band than they are now. I don't think that they got much going for them now at this point in time. They don't have the drawing power they once did.
No, but it's just weird to like you think like, okay, maybe they played like a L'Amour's or they played some big club that was known for stuff like that. Frankie, that's true. Phil Collins told us that himself. He said, we played this weird place on Staten Island when we first came, because we were talking about where we were from, and he said, oh, yeah, we played on Staten Island. And he gave us the story, and he said that was the very first show that they did when they came back before they went on the official tour. They played Granny Funyuns, and that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And we talked to him for our Def Leppard stuff, Delta Deep, his other biz, like blues band. Really great guy. And again, we've gotten to meet so many, Hall of Rock and Roll of Fame, like the guys from Heart. We got to talk to C. Fossin and Mike DeRosia from Heart. It's just been a blast. And again, there's some people I would love to still get on the show. I still send out the occasional email and try to get somebody on, but
very. Do they even answer you back?
Sometimes, very, very, very rare. I've tried Rocky Blyer a bunch of times. Terry Bradshaw, I've tried a few times. Guys like Roger Staubach, I've sent emails out to a bunch of people. But most of the people that you can get, they have like an agent who books these type of things, and they want to be paid for it. They want to get $500, $700, $800, $1,000 to come on your show and talk. So, again, if you're a bigger venue and they can, promote, I guess that fee goes away. But I want to say I tried Namath, but again, a bunch of those guys I've sent. Fred Dreyer, I love Fred Dreyer, the Hunter.
Namath is too old at this point in time.
But I've tried. I'm telling you, I've sent out Ray Boombo Mancini. I tried to get on. The Bon Jovi guys, I've tried Richie Sambora a half dozen times, never getting anything back. It's just, like I said, sometimes you get lucky. Like I said, Joe Lynn Turner, great guy, great interview, best show, our most viewed show ever at that point. I don't know if we've had better since then, but at that one was 8,000 people listened to that Joe Lynn Turner. That's when he still had his hair.
Yeah, before he went wigless. Actually, that hair came off at night.
Yeah, but he may have been using somebody else's hair at that point.
Oh, definitely.
What's his name?
Ponytail.
Yeah, Jeff Pilson was on, and we're in the middle of interviewing, and I hear his car alarm going off, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm taking you with me. I got to go pick up my daughter from some program," and we're driving in the car with Jeff Pilson, and he's giving us play-by-play on Foreigner and all that shit, Doc and shit. So, hi Sharon. What Sharon posted for us?
I don't know. What is she?
Something link distance overtime link. I have no idea what Sharon just posted up on our.
I don't know what she's doing.
I'm afraid to click on it. Next thing I know, it'd be Jeff without his drawers on or something.
There's none of that on the internet. I'll tell you that much.
So again, I just wanted to say, listen, it's 12 years. We start year 13. Looking forward to a great football season, regardless of how our teams do. We managed to have a good time, and it's a lot of fun. We got a lot of sports to talk about tonight. Got a little bit of stuff, but we've seen a lot. We've gone through COVID. We've gone through a couple, 3 different presidencies. Actually, 4 different.
Sharon sent us a thing. It's a bunch of like 12-year-olds that are on Staten Island. A band from Staten Island.
Okay. Yeah. So we've managed to get through a lot of stuff, and even we had what was the drummer? Is it Andy Young from UFO? Right.
Andy Young. Yeah.
Yeah. We've had just so many different bands from people that we grew up listening to, and then when you're sitting there and you're listening to them talk to you, and it's like, wow, this is pretty cool. And sometimes you get some, like I know people who've like when they after they interview, they ask the people for comments. We never did that. We've gotten a couple of emails. Rick Emmett from Triumph sent me a nice email when we were done to say, hey, thanks.
See, he was a good one too.
Yeah, he was a really good, and I blew it with that because I didn't know he was a baseball fan. And we at the end of the interview, he goes, "Oh, I would love to have talked about the Toronto Blue Jays." I'm like, I didn't know you were a baseball fan, and so shitty on me. I've tried for Geddy Lee a half dozen times, no response. I'd love to get Geddy Lee on. I'm actually supposed to go see Rush on Monday night, I think.
You got tickets?
Nikki supposedly might have tickets. I'm not sure. He called me last week and said, I put in for the tickets. His company's got a box there. And he said, looks good. But I haven't heard from him since. But tentatively, I'm going to see Rush on Monday night, I think. So we'll see how that plays out. And then, again, I just want to say thank you to Jeff. Thank you to people like Frankie and Sharon. Thank you for putting up with this, and my wife and my dad, who's usually here every week. I don't know where Dad is this week. He may have fallen asleep, or maybe couldn't find a shirt to put on to get on the show with us. I'm not.
Oh no, please! He don't get his chest waxed before the show, does he?
No, he does not. I can guarantee you that. Dad looks like he's got a buckwheat in a headlock when he shirtless. It's a little frightening. But I wanted to say thank you to Jeff and everybody else who's helped this come a long way, and all you guys who come back every week and hang with us. It's a lot of fun, and again, I've gotten to make a lot of friends this way. There's people like John Marhefker and Jeff Westlake, and guys around the country that I've yet to meet in person, but I feel like they're friends and people we've had musicians. Steve Fossen from Heart used to send me music he was writing for his albums to listen to and critique. I mean, it was just weird, and it's all cool. Motley Crue and Tesla. That is some show. Holy cow. Motley Crue and Tesla. I love Tesla. Motley Crue, I wouldn't see live. If Motley Crue was replaced by avatars that were naked on stage, I wouldn't go see that. It's a night out, man. You're absolutely right.
Going to be rough.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'd go see that. Yeah, I'd go see Tesla and leave. Who's opening?
Got to be Tesla.
I would say, right? I mean,
yeah, I would think so.
Am I going tomorrow night? Absolutely not. I would not go see Motley Crue ever again. In fact, if I drove by the stadium that Motley Crue was playing in, the minute the sound hit my ears, I would turn into the ditch and kill myself. I would just throw right into the ditch because I would never, ever, ever go see Motley Crue ever again. Once live was enough in 1988. That's all I'm going to say. Worst band live ever. Ever. I don't think there could be a worse band live ever.
I saw them twice in 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's been over 40 since I've seen them last.
And
I'm planning on keeping it that way.
I would rather go see Corey Feldman do a guitar solo, right, on a freezing cold night outdoors in Central Park than go see Motley Crue.
Wow. That is rough.
That is the worst band, Tesla and Extreme. See, now, but I would see that show before I saw Motley Crue. Okay? Tesla and Extreme, because Extreme, that guy is one of the greats. I mean, I don't know if enough people listen to Nuno Bettencourt. That guy.
Who's in Extreme now? Is it still the original guys?
I don't know. I mean, to me, I only knew the two. Gary Sharon and Nuno Bettencourt. I don't even know who the other guys are. So they could have you playing bass tomorrow, and I wouldn't know that you were in the band.
I can assure you that I will be here in the house, right over there in that corner over there, watching TV.
Oh boy!
I will not be doing any shenanigans with anyone tomorrow night.
Yeah, I like Tesla. I like Extreme. That's a show I would go to before I go see Motley Crue. I have to be honest with you.
I only know a couple Tesla songs. I don't know much about Tesla.
Yeah.
They never seem to make it to the next level when we were, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, they were definitely a band that got kind of caught and I guess grunge got in the way of. That's another one of those bands that never kind of broke it wide open. But they had a few, obviously they had Signs was a big song for them. I know cover and everything, but still a great song. And yeah, Gary Sharon's a good singer. Nuno Bettencourt, yeah, they've got some really good tunes. I liked some of this. I know they're most famous for their Wishy Washy song, but some of their stuff is heavy. He's just an amazing guitar player. I can listen to that guy play all day long. Holy cow, I can listen to that guy all day.
Tom, I will be back.
Go ahead.
Dinner is active.
Oh boy, here we go. But again, Hard Rocket Sports. That's just Jeff, and I'm Tom, and you'll see his back a little bit, I guess, tonight. But thanks for tuning in, and thanks for celebrating 12 years on the air. We've been doing this. Yes, they're very underrated. Also, John Gard. Oh yes, John Gard. Yes, very nice. I didn't know he passed. Very nice man. John Gard was my connection to the gods. That's right. Yeah, John Gard was a very nice guy. And he got I can't think of the guy's name. It's somebody gave it to me. Nice man. I got to interview him and John Gard and the guy, the bass player from Reverend Horton Heat, another good guy. So again, we've gotten to talk to so many people, man. It's just so much fun. But it's more important to talk to you guys because you're all friends. Yeah, listen, there is nothing wrong with Tesla. I mean, Edison's Medicine's a great song. There's some really good tunes from that band. I'd see that show if I knew that was happening, I would have thought about going to that one because that's a good show. Motley Crue, I'm not so sure, but that one, yeah, a very underrated band, Billy Graz. That's a very underrated band to go see. Billy Sheehan. We had Billy Sheehan on 3 or 4 times. Billy Sheehan once called in on his own to tell he somehow knew we were talking about songs on our iPod, and Billy Sheehan came on to talk about the songs on his iPod. Yeah, Pooch was a good interview, and yeah, I mean, I talked to Frankie Bello. He mentioned it. I think he mentioned it to us as well. But we get that all the time. Damon Johnson promised he was going to get us Alice Cooper. Never happened. Alice Cooper's a big golfer. Come on your show. Okay, great. Give him our information. We'll have to have him. That's 5 years ago. So we get that a lot. But yeah, Frankie, Frankie, by the way, if I didn't ask you already, if I did, I apologize. Is Joe Fro back in the league this year? I'm hoping Joe Fro's back. We're looking for one more team. Joe Dorada bailed out. So I need to replace Joe Dorada. We got a couple new guys. Dominic Mansueto's on the fantasy team. Nick Marino, Big Nick, he's joined the league. So, but we are short one team. I just need to know. Okay, he's in the league. Great. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna send out an email probably tonight to everybody. We're gonna do the draft on Labor Day, 8:00 at night. I think I'm going to the Iron Maiden concert the Sunday night, and I don't want to do a Thursday night, so we're gonna do Monday night, September 7th. I do need a team plus Fro at this point. Yeah, I was hoping for South Beach connection, South Beach Panther connection. We reached out to a few other guys that we've gotten turned down. So Frank Jeffrey and I are looking for one new team to join with Nikki and Dom Mansueto. And we'll have our 12 and we'll have some fun. We're going to raise the entry fee to $75, so the prizes will get bigger. So if you guys, anybody out there wants to join the South Beach fantasy football team, fantasy football league, let us know. We're looking for one more team. The draft, Jeff, is September 7th at 8:00 at night.
September 7th at 8:00 at night. That's fine with me.
Yeah, it's a Monday night. It's Labor Day weekend. I didn't want to do Thursday again because it's much too hard to do this show and do that. So I said, screw it. And Frankie and I just picked Monday night, September 7th. So it's the league is set. We just need to ask one team. We need one team to join, and we can move on. Like I said, we're going to ask and see if everybody's in, but we'd like to raise it to $75 per team. That would make the prizes. I think it's 4, 3, and 2 this year. So that's Tommy. You may want to make sure on those dates because there is a wedding night. There's a Wednesday night, and but the Wednesday opener is the 9th. The 9th is the first game.
You're cutting it close.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Matt. You gave me 2 songs. Who's that from? Tesla or Extreme? I don't know.
Those are Tesla songs.
Tesla, Hang Tough, and Edison's Machine.
Edison's Medicine.
Edison's Medicine.
That's a great song. Frankie, I am going to at this point. I am going to see Maiden on September 6th. So if you're going that night, we'll hook up. So I'm taking my son and my future daughter-in-law. It was a gift to them for their upcoming birth of their child.
I thought they already got married.
No, that is Chris just got married. Gary is not married yet. Gary,
You okay?
yes. So Gary and his girlfriend are expecting child in November, so they wanted to go to the concert. I got a couple tickets. We're going to that. We're going to the maiden show. I think that's the Sunday night, and then Monday night. I know it's cutting it close, Matt, but what's the difference? Everybody's set at that point. It'll be Monday night, and then the season opens up on the 9th. I believe it's the 9th in Australia. Then there's a game on the 10th, and then again, I think there's a game on Friday night also, and then the season's on Sunday, and then the Giants open up on Monday. So
all I know is that 2 years in a row, my team finished better than your team, and as long as I finish better than you again, that's all that matters to me. I don't care if I have to pay $1,075. Okay, as long as I have one more win, one more point than you, that's all that matters.
All right. Well, see, that's a shallow life you lead.
And if we could finally get into what we're here for,
which is
something other than guests and fantasy football league and the beating that you're going to get.
We can now get into that. Yes. So I do want to get into a little bit of stuff.
Thank you. I got to go to work in a couple days.
Listen. This show is not built on your thought process.
You asked me to look at 2 divisions this week in football, and I did. And I finally did it, and I got the information. And I might as well just read this shit and forget it.
All right, Frankie, send me your godson's send me his email address, and I will send him a link to the team, and he can sign up. All right, so yeah.
Are we going to do a mock draft?
Yeah, we can do a mock draft for sure. I'll put it out to everybody if they want to get involved. But yes,
those were fun to do that, man.
Yeah, well, I will.
And one other thing too, I hope that I pick one person in front of you.
That's fine. You didn't help you. Didn't help you at all last year.
No. It did help me because I got the guy that you wanted. Because I'll never forget that as long as I live. You motherfucker, you.
Oh, yeah. You did kick mother effort. Yes, you did. All right, so let's talk NFC and AFC West divisions. I did do some research myself. So let's get that on the board. Let me put the show back on.
Those 2 divisions were probably the easiest division to go over because there's no clear-cut anyone in those divisions, I feel.
Well,
there's a lot of the NFC West with Los Angeles.
Yeah, there's a lot of
flux.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I think you can easily write off. Let's talk the AFC. So you can easily write off the Raiders. They're in a rebuild. They're trying to figure out.
That's just it. There's going to be so many stories within that story. They're in a rebuild. When does Mendoza start? What's going to happen with Kirk Cousins, somebody that really hasn't played that much, a full-time basis the last couple of years. When are they going to turn around and give up on him? And when is the crowd going to want Mendoza to come in? It's a big year for those guys, man. Suppose Mendoza's not what he's turned out to be. You know what I mean?
Yep. Matt, Iggy Mo won it last year. I believe he beat Catalano. I think Frankie, didn't you lose to Iggy Mo last year? I think that was the but okay, so let's get into a little bit here. So again, yeah, I think Jeff's right on the money with the Raiders. Broncos, listen, they really probably should have been the team representing the AFC in the Super Bowl last year. Knicks' injury, the weather, a really good Patriots defense prevented that. But I think they're set up, Jeff. The addition of Waddle, they brought back J.K. Dobbins. I think they're set up this year with a really good team. And again, I think the issues with Kansas City, the fact that the Chargers can't seem to take it to the next step, and the Raiders, I can't see the Broncos not winning that division. But Kansas City is getting Patrick Mahomes back really early and supposedly healthy. So
Yeah,
how
but
much
you
of
know
a
what?
factor?
Let's see what happens. He is coming back from a knee injury. It
Mhm.
seems like he's coming back early. Uh, I saw what you were talking about in the group chat. What do you think that he they kind of lied about his injury a little bit? That they're trying to get him back earlier, get him back in the on the field earlier.
Well, I don't think they lied about it. I think what my fear is, you know how sometimes like you hurt your right ankle, so you're putting a lot more strain on your left ankle, and then
Yeah,
you
of
wind
course.
up hurting that because you were, So I worry that they're so worried about getting him back on the field too soon that he overcompensates and he winds up hurting something else or hurting that same leg again. But if he's healthy, are they better this year? I mean, Kenneth Walker coming on. I never believe in that Super Bowl MVP going to another team and having a great year. It almost never happens. So I don't think that's a big deal for them. I think they may still have issues with talent to
Well, what
supplement him.
about Travis Kelsey now a year older? Like, is this his last summer, last winter, or summer, last season playing? And
Yes, I think so.
is Taylor Swift going to overshadow the Chiefs season?
Always.
Because they got married. It's just who wants to hear that bullshit again?
Well, I think it comes down to for them how listen. Obviously, with if they're playing well, Mahomes is probably he's kind of the face of the league, kind of thing. I don't think he's the best player in the league, but he might be the face of the league. And then, of course, if they're winning, they're on TV. She's at the games now. She's Mrs. Kelsey. You're going to see a lot of
So,
Taylor Swift. So do yeah. So again, I've seen a lot of that. Justin Fields is the insurance behind Mahomes. This is why they're rushing Mahomes back onto the field. Nobody wants to see Justin Fields back on.
no, how
Back.
could you want to see that?
Yeah,
No, my God, no way,
yeah.
no way.
So
Not unless you want to be from behind by week 3.
see Frank Catalano. I would want Patrick Mahomes on the field week 1. I would, if I was you, I would want him there because I don't think he's going to be 100%. It's near impossible to recover from that injury and be on the field and be that healthy that early. I just don't see it. He's not going to play him down in the preseason. I just
While you're 100%, it's still Patrick Mahomes. He still has enough talent to pull a win out of his ass. But not for nothing, Denver also has a quarterback that has an injury issues. That ankle injury that he suffered in the playoffs and the operations that he went through. Is he going to be able to play and play at a high, you know,
yeah. Wait,
but
Bo
play good right coming out of the season? You know what I mean? There's a lot to ask him too.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I think for me, I think the Broncos are a much deeper, more well-rounded team defensively, running the ball. I don't think they have to rely on Bo Nix early to win. Where I think the Chiefs, you have to rely on Mahomes. He is that team. I don't think they've upgraded on offense. Their biggest problem has been on offense with not having the talent around him. Wasn't as bad as
Yeah,
they.
but you know what? Every single team in that division has some offensive questions.
Yeah, again, guys, Frankie, Matt, I agree with you. He may be, but you're not running around with 280-pound guys chasing you, falling all over you. So I agree with you. It's great to look fine in a 7-on-7 drill when you're wearing a red jersey or you're running through, you run through the tires. I'm with you. And maybe they overhyped it and he wasn't as bad. That's fine too. I'm just saying this: if he's not 100% healthy, his game is predicated on sliding around the pocket, making those weird throws. And if he's not 100%, and with that team, even with him healthy, I still don't think they're the best team in that division. Playoff bound, Jeff. I think they're playoff bound if he's healthy. But
Mahomes.
yeah, I still don't. I still think the Broncos are the team to beat in that division.
It all depends, Tom. It was definitely an off year for the Chiefs last year. I don't think that's really them. They did have injuries, but there's still questions about them. I think there's questions about just every team in that division. You brought up about, I see you got the Chargers up there. Is Justin Herbert willing to ready to take the next step finally? And do something with that team in that division, because with last year he didn't do much. No.
Yeah, no, I think it's one of those guys. He's almost the Trevor Lawrence of the
The
Chargers.
AFC West.
Yeah, because he's got talent. That he puts up decent numbers, but he doesn't know how to get over. Ever since that playoff loss, it's just not been the same. And I think the problem with Harbaugh and that team is his philosophy has changed. What made him great on even the 49ers and then later on in Michigan was pounding and running the ball. And I don't think he's got the weapons where he is to make that offense go. And his defense hasn't been great. And I think they're in a tough division. I think they're, a good team. They'll win some games. They'll be in the mix for a playoff spot. I just don't see them take the next leap.
They may get into the playoffs, and it's almost like a waste of them getting there. But listen, they got to get it. They got to try to get in. They got to try to be better.
Yeah.
I just don't think that they have it in them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now let's switch over to the NFC West, Jeff. And listen, it's been the offseason. The Super Bowl is being played in LA this year, and it's very apparent for, I think, a lot of reasons that the Los Angeles Rams are going for it all this year. The game's in their stadium. The Myles Garrett trade.
Can you blame them? Why not?
Yeah, no, I don't blame them at all. And I also do believe Stafford is on borrowed time. I also think that their coach wants to retire. He almost did a few years ago. I think he's come back. I think he wants to win another one, and then it's off the TV. So I think they're going for it. I mean, the Trent McDuffie upgrade. I think there's a lot of things to look at. I think they will be the best team in the NFC, barring obviously Jeff injuries. But it is still a tough division. I mean, Seattle's the reigning Super Bowl champs. 49ers should be a better team. Mike Evans over there now. Again, Cardinals I don't believe in. So, it's a tough division.
Cardinals are doormat.
Tough division for the Rams, but I still think they're the gold standard in the NFC this year.
Let me ask you this: what happened? Speaking of NFC West and the Niners,
yeah,
their coach was just in an accident, so he's got to recover. So who knows how that may affect him? What happens with Brandon Ayuk? What are they going to do with this? This guy is almost like trying to put himself out of football with some of the shit he does and says.
Yeah,
he's a fucking mental case.
I'm confused. Is he a free agent now? Did he get released?
No. I don't think he got. I don't know. No, he didn't get released. No. He's still on that team. He's still with the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
But like he's being a thorn in their side and saying stupid shit, waiting to get, thrown off the team, be cut, whatever it is that it takes. But they're just not doing it, and I don't understand. Well, I know why they're doing it. They're punishing him for him in his mouth.
Oh yeah.
But you think that they would just like wash your hands of him and get rid of him already.
Yeah. Again, guys, Matt, Aaron Donald coming back. I get he hasn't played in a couple years. Is he going to come back and just play third downs and rush the quarterback? It's not that simple. I mean, and while I think he was a best player of his generation in that position, if he's going to play, get in camp. I mean, if he's in camp, I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen anything. To me, when is he going to show up? So when is he going to show up? A week before the season?
He's not. But you want to know something? Even if he shows up and he hasn't played in 2 years, that's still going to benefit Myles Garrett, because you're going to have to account for him one way or another. Yeah. And the two of them out on the field at the same time, I understand. Yeah, I agree with you. There's only so much that they're going to place on him anyway, because how long is it going to take him to get into football shape? But once he is in somewhat football shape, you're going to have to account for him. You can't just leave him alone. And then with Myles Garrett and him, it's going to be a lot of disruption.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like I said, I just think, the Rams right now are stacked. Okay, they can throw the ball, they can run the ball, they play great defense. Myles Garrett will be a big, huge upgrade. I think that they're the best team again, barring injuries. Stafford eventually is going to run out of juice, but I think he's got enough in the tank for this year for sure. So I don't see. I think Frisco. First off, I think Mike Evans is at the tail end of his career. I think there was a step last year. I think Brock Purdy's come back to earth to a certain extent.
Isn't Evans like 32, 33?
I'm not sure, but he's definitely. You saw the last couple of years a lot of injuries. Not a lot of time on the field. And even when he is, it's not the same explosive guy that he was 4 or 5 or 6 years ago. So, I'm not as big as
32 years old. It's 32 years old.
Here's the question. So, was last year a fluke with Seattle? I mean, Donald had another really good year. I don't know if he had a great year. The team, they ran the ball super well, played great defense. There's the whole, jinx. Can they repeat, which doesn't happen very often? Chiefs, and then you got to go way back to the Patriots. Does anybody out there believe that Seattle is set up to win again this year? I don't. I think it was a fluke year, but what do I know?
I don't think I would say that it was a fluke that they won. They were a good team. They were good across the board with everything they did. I think it helped Donald out immensely. I don't think that Donald is the one that took them to where they went. But I don't think you got to count them out. I mean, they're definitely going to be second fiddle to the Rams.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, Catalano, I agree. I think that was a great move. I think Waddle will be a great guy, a great help to Bo Nix. Bo Nix surprised me. Played well. Played really well.
I do not understand this at all.
What's that?
Which is why the Dolphins, and hopefully Frank Jeffrey's still on there so he can give this question. If you're the Dolphins and you go out and sign Malik Willis and you question about him being quarterback and if he's worth it, you sign him to a semi-decent amount of money, but you send away his best receiver is injured in Tyreek Hill, and then Waddle, who would have been the best receiver on that team, you get rid of. I don't understand that move at all, man. I don't get that one at all whatsoever.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Because now, how are you really supposed to gauge what this guy is?
Listen. I said it from the beginning. If I were them, I would have give serious consideration to not bringing in Malik Willis and going with Quinn Ewers and roll the dice on having a decent season or blowing it up and getting a high draft pick.
Well, they did kind of blow it up. Think of what they got rid of almost all their key pieces, and now you want to see what this guy can do. But who's he got with him?
No,
I don't understand that. I'm sorry.
I agree. I think they were in such salary cap hell that I think they were just trying to blow it up, jettison everybody, and start now. Tyreek Hill not being there, I think it was okay. I would not have gotten rid of Waddle. Although Waddle, I think, had a big case of the drops the last couple of years, and I don't think he was the same player. And I do think that some of those guys wanted out of it, and he might have been one.
Yeah, but he's still your best option, though, man.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you. I did question it, and again, I'm not a big Malik Willis fan. I don't believe he's going to go in there and be a difference maker. But
well, he can't be. Who is he going to throw the ball to?
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Do they even have a clear-cut number one on that team?
I don't know. You want me to bring up their roster?
You can if you like. I mean, I don't know much about the Dolphins. I don't know what you know about the Dolphins. Oh. So I'm hoping that Frankie is still on. Maybe he'll chime in.
Haven't seen Frankie in a minute, so I don't know. Let's see.
I see that Matt is still on. Matt, who's their number one receiver over there?
Dolphins. Let's see if I can find their roster. I got the Dolphins up. No, why not? Miami Dolphins. Okay, there we go. So here's their roster. Okay, hang on a second. Let's see. Position, running back, wide receiver, Tutu Atwell.
Nothing to worry about.
Chris Bell, wide receiver. Let's see. Kevin Coleman Jr., Caleb Douglas. Let's see who else we got here. AJ Henning. Not a lot of big names. Terrence Marshall Jr., Donovan McCulley. These are on the roster. Doesn't mean they make it. Jalen Rieger.
You happen to have their Madden ratings over there?
Jalen Tolbert. Let's see. Malik Washington. Taj Washington. Theo Wees Jr. Yeah, that's their Malik Washington and a chain. Yeah, again, yeah, Jalen Rieger is there, Anthony. Yeah. So again, I think this is the version of we're blowing it up, we're throwing it out, and we're gonna get through the year, based on we've rid ourselves of Tua, and this is how we're gonna move forward. So we'll see. I'm not sure.
Listen, I understand that all teams have to tear down in order to build up. I could go with that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. But you signed Malik Willis to what is it, 2-year deal or 3-year deal?
Probably a 2-year, I think.
Don't you want to see what you have in him? Maybe he is a potential starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins.
Maybe.
But I mean, I don't know. I guess time will tell. They know better than us, right?
Yeah, I got a great name on this team. I've never heard of this guy. He's been in the league for 3 years, I believe, or more than that. This guy is a cornerback for the Miami Dolphins. His name is Storm Duck.
It's a good, strong football name, huh?
It's a good, strong football name, Jeff. Storm
No,
Duck.
that or maybe on a news station.
Yeah. He's Storm Field's cousin, Storm Duck.
Yeah, the weatherman.
Yes, the weatherman.
What do you forecast for us there, Storm?
Mr. Duck, how are you today? Anyway, so again, I think it's a good point by you. I do. Next week we're gonna bring up the AFC, NFC South divisions. We'll do that next week. Tolbert came over from Dallas, yes, but Jeff is right. They brought in Willis. Yeah, Frankie, that's if you're a guy like Malik Willis, and you're trying to get to that next level, some of these other guys we could probably talk about too. And then you get to that team, and then you go, well, I'm going to play with Tyreek Hill. I'm going to play with Jalen Waddle. I'm going to have a chain.
Well, Tyreek Hill wasn't even signed. He was a free agent at that point in time.
No, I'm just saying, like you go in there thinking like these are the names, and then all of a sudden, it's Storm Duck is on your team. It's like
Storm Duck.
You know what I mean?
I remember I seen a meme once where they were taking Tyreek Hill off the field, with his leg fucking pointing east, and he was smiling. Yeah. And I mean that man was just injured, and they're taking him off the field. He wasn't crying, he wasn't sad, he was smiling. Yeah. That's got to tell you something, man.
Well, I'm just saying, like you're right. I mean, you're Malik Willis, and you think you're going to a team with some weapons, and the next thing you know, there's nothing there. So it's how he proves himself. Listen, the other way to do it is go out there and be successful with a bunch of guys who weren't household names, and your rep gets bigger. It's easy to go out there and throw to Randy Moss or Julian Edelman or some of these other guys, and then next thing you know, you go out there and you're trying to throw to Tolberts and Riegers and whoever, and you're like,
yeah, but you know what, Tom? It's that philosophy: next man up. Here's your chance.
Absolutely.
How many times do you find a guy that has a breakout season? They're going to rely upon him if he clicks with the quarterback, and he's a semi-decent talent. There's no reason why you can't do a little something with them. I mean, nobody's saying they're going to the fucking Super Bowl. So it's not like, like this is a Super Bowl pick, just to be competitive. But like I say, on more than one occasion, I said it here tonight, I would be worried that you got Malik Willis.
Yeah.
What happens? How's this guy supposed to showcase what he has? I just don't think he has enough talent around him on the offense. But listen, maybe we're wrong. Who knows?
No, we're going to find out soon. Hot Rocket Sports, Jeff and Tom, and all of you hanging out here on a Thursday night. Appreciate you guys being here. We've had a mix of talk, and of course, we're celebrating our 12th year on the air. And thank you guys for hanging in there with us. I do want to go through some of the things going on in the camps right now. It just seemed like Tua has kind of jumped out in front from what I've seen in the competition in Atlanta. Matt, I know Matt was a big Michael Penix fan coming out of college. I wasn't. I did not like his mechanics, but I know he had a pretty good career. Are we surprised that Tua's got the lead in that job, Jeff? I know I know that Penix coming off an injury last year. You're a little surprised that your guy
No,
is
not at all. Not at all. How could you not? How could you be surprised that he doesn't have it? Penix is. I don't even know when he's going to be ready. I know he's not going to be ready for the start of the season. That I know. So
okay, fair enough. Jeff, a healthy Joe Burrow. Has Joe Burrow's window kind of closed? And I know it's crazy to say that. He's young. He's got a lot of talent around him. But, teams have a window. We've talked about it all the time. They had that opportunity where they were challenging. They went to the Super Bowl. All of that stuff. And, now it's been like down year after down year. Injuries piling up. At some point, it just gets to be too much. Is that window closing on this version of the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow?
I don't know about Joe Burrow, but maybe this version of the Bengals, I would have to agree with that. Yeah. Listen, you don't know what's going to happen, but these guys, Joe Burrow is getting a little older, and that team seems to go on spurts where they just have questions. And I think that they're in the midst of another spurt, to be honest with you.
It's possible, but Matt, well, I agree with you, and my question's a little misleading, but what I'm saying is I agree, but you say he's got to stay healthy. Then stay healthy. At some point you go, okay, stay healthy and stay on the field and that division isn't exactly brimming with great teams. Cleveland's terrible. Steelers have been average for years now. I'll give it to the Ravens, and Cincinnati has not made any inroads to being that team, even though they've had great wide receivers, a great quarterback, a pretty decent defense. They have not. I got it, but again, at some point you kind of got to start winning, and we all place too much emphasis on the quarterback. But they're not doing enough, and he's not staying healthy enough. So,
no, he's not.
Jeff, this might be the most intriguing, oddest quarterback competition of ever, where you got two guys, one maybe over the hill, one I think is overrated for one of the worst teams in football. But I guarantee there's going to be a big topic of conversation from now till September when they decide who plays quarterback. What's your thought on the serial masseuse Salter versus the most overrated player coming out of college since Johnny Manziel?
I honestly, I feel as though that they're going to want Watson to win this, but they can't say it right now. They can't say it. They're going to look stupid for taking Sanders. You're going to have Dion saying stuff. The people are going to say, why are you taking, how did a guy that sat with 2 injuries for 3-4 years anywhere remotely better than this guy?
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of questions to answer. I think that in the long run, it's going to be Watson that gets the nod.
Yeah, I think they're trying to salvage anything. Here's the funny part. Let's say he goes out and has a great season. Now, this is the last year of his deal. Let's say somehow, some way, he goes out and has a great season, right? Stays healthy, doesn't assault anybody. The team actually wins 7 or 8 games somehow. Do they actually give him a new contract?
No, they can't. They can't. I mean, God, he would have to throw for like 6,000 yards and get that team into the playoffs and maybe go to the AFC Championship.
Think about if you're the owner and he throws for like 3,800 yards, 27 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, runs for like another 4 touchdowns. They're battling for a playoff spot, and they go, he's playing great football. Do we give another guy? Could you imagine if you're the owner, you want to blow your brains out? Because imagine you give him another contract, like another 3 years.
Oh my God! And then as soon as he signs, 24 more women came out and say that he was fucking, whipping out his pecker while he was getting fucking
Yes,
massages or something.
that's the point. That is why that is the greatest quarterback spectacle of the season. Because one, if you're the owner, you're going, all right, I hope he wins, and he's horrendous, so I don't have to even think about giving him a new contract. I got 3 quarterbacks. I'm not sure any of them are any good, and we're gonna suck. No way, man. The best quarterback company ever was Gary Hogan with Steve Ballmer. Yeah, you're right, Matt. So that's the most intriguing one of the summer. Bo Nix, Jeff. The question is being asked: can Bo Nix become the next elite AFC quarterback? The answer in my book is yes, especially if he wears these uniforms, because these are the best Denver Bronco uniforms. But Jeff, is Bo Nix poised to be the next elite quarterback? Join that elusive top 10 that we have a hard time filling.
Well, he is poised to have be one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Let's see how he rebounds from this injury, and let's see what he does with the team. Does he take the Broncos to the playoff 2 years in a row? Does he clear the hurdle and make the Super Bowl? Anything is possible, but he's got to come back from what he had 2 ankle surgeries this year.
I think Frankie said he had 3. Catalano said 3.
And one of them was just very recent.
I think they went and cleaned up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that they said he'll be ready for the start of the season, but everybody's going to say that because they want him out there. So you got to see what happens once he starts playing, once he has to get mobile. Hopefully for his sake, it's good. He's good.
Yep. No, I agree. This guy, Jeff, I think is on the hot seat. Now, I know some people think I'm crazy. They've had their best few years. They went to an NFC Championship game a few years ago, but a disappointing last year, and now a very tough division. I mean, at least 2 teams in that division will be picked ahead of them, in my opinion, with the Bears and the Packers. Now, there's no guarantee, Jeff, that the Bears will make another leap. And the Packers have had their opportunities and haven't capitalized. So, Jahmyr Gibbs is not in camp. He's holding out. He wants more money. They let go or traded. I think they let go Montgomery. They didn't sign him. I think he moved on as a free agent.
No, I think they're pretty sure they traded him.
Well, either way, he's not there. Montgomery's not there.
He's Houston, right?
Yeah, he had the good 2-headed monster. His career is over. He sucked ever since he came over from the Texans. Sanders wins the job. All right, Matt, you may be right. I think Sanders sucks. But I think at the end of the day, I think Watson may win that job going away. But we'll see. But Jeff, Detroit for a few years kind of had a lock on the division. Dan Campbell was everybody's funny guy, good coach. Loved the sound bites. A little bit of a hot seat right now. If this team doesn't rebound from last year, but with their best player not in camp, looking for a lot more money, he's good receiving core. Goff still got it. This is a big season for Dan Campbell.
Yeah, it is. And listen, I'm sure they're going to sign Gibbs. He knows that he's going to get the money.
Yeah.
How could they not? He's got a big weapon for them. And I think it's just a matter of time before he's back on the field for them.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. I will say, he'll get another job. If he loses this, he'll get a job, or he will be on TV. Dan Campbell will have one or two when his time with the Lions is up, if it comes to that. But I don't think. I think again, there's a window, so and then it's a rebuild. Or retooling of the team. And I think that's what they need right now. But first thing they need in camp is a healthy Jahmyr Gibbs. You know what happens. These guys show up, 3 weeks left of camp and they pull 2 hamstrings and they don't play till week 8 and the season's
I'm surprised because Jahmyr Gibbs, he's such a little guy too. When you see him on the field next to other people, I didn't realize how small he was.
Hell of a player. He's
an awesome player, without a doubt. Yeah. But, sign him to a deal, wrap him up so you don't have to worry about it for the next couple of years. And, that's that. I mean, I know that they're going to work with him, no?
Yeah, no, again, that's the answer. Yes. Let's move on to the Houston Texans. Great defense, playoffs. Stroud falls apart. This is a big year for C.J. Stroud. He's been on the borderline of being a really good quarterback heading into great, not so great lately. I've never been a big fan, but this is a really good defense. Let's see how it plays out. But is this team ready to take to the next step? Is the question.
Oh, I've seen a lot of people pick them to go to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
But more so for their defense than Stroud.
Yep. Nope, I get it. We've talked about Patrick Mahomes. Very, very big preseason. Let's see how healthy he is. If he's healthy, Jeff, he's a game changer. Problem is, I still don't know if they have enough weapons. I think Travis Kelce should have retired. I thought he was nowhere to be found in last year. I think he disappeared. I think he's spending too much time on the road with his wife. I think that's about done.
Yeah, he's probably just wants to finish out a full year with Mahomes. He lost Mahomes. Didn't he have injuries too last year, Kelce?
I want to say he had a back issue, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been a leg.
I think it was a back. I don't know why. That sounds familiar.
Yeah. Again, the Raiders, we talked a little bit about it. The Raiders are an uninteresting team for me this year. They're not going to be very good. But I do agree. I think the quarterback situation is much upgraded. They got rid of the has-been no good quarterback they had last year. What was his name? Geno Smith. He moved on. I think he's in the UFL. Maybe he's in the Staten Island touchdown.
That's all right, little buddy. 17 games. That's okay. We could take him for 17 games.
But I listen. Kirk Cousins has to be I don't know what Kirk Cousins did in his life. This guy's probably made the most money of any quarterback in the history of quarterbacks. Who's probably lost more jobs along the way after signing big contracts than anybody. I mean, Vikings, Falcons, guy shows up, gets big money, and then doesn't have to play, and then moves on. And it's going to happen here. He's going to go out and play a few games, and then Mendoza's going to jump in and play. I just don't see it any other way.
Yeah, but you know what, Tommy? He had to know that. Going in over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and the worst part is when that happens, they're not going to trade him. They're not going to trade him because they're going to need him in case Mendoza, the wheels fall off.
No, I agree. He's there for the season, maybe for two. I'm not sure. But, yeah, you're right. I think that's I think he's a great guy for Mendoza to have and learn from. Kirk Cousins has been around. He's seen a bunch of different schemes. He's seen it all. He's dealt with it all. He's been the highest paid quarterback in the league. He's been knocked off the perch and lost his job. So I think it's a good thing to have. And I'm not a big fan of rushing these guys onto the field. So I would like to say Mendoza doesn't play this year. But you're right. In all likelihood,
he'll be on the field.
He'll be on the field. Yeah,
he'll definitely be on the field. Somewhere along the line, he's going to be on the field.
I would agree with you. Yeah, for sure. Again, Jim Harbaugh, I think has been a great coach. I just don't know if he's brought his philosophy here or changed his philosophy to fit the team.
Yeah.
So I don't know about Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. I think they're the third best team in that division, and I would love to see. Their quarterback had such great first couple of years, and then I don't know if we jinxed him by drafting him that year on our fantasy team, and then ever since then it's been mediocre or nondescript.
Well, he's been a little bit more than mediocre, but closer to mediocre than he has been excellent. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, listen, who knows? That's a tough division.
Yep.
To be in, especially now with Broncos getting better and Mahomes and the Chiefs. We don't know what they're going to be like, but at the last couple of years, Super Bowl contenders, and listen, you got to see what happens. I just don't think that they'll ever overcome the teams in that division and do anything. I just don't.
I agree. Frankie, I don't disagree. I do think that the kid will get on the field. I don't like it. I mean, to me, but again, some plays it helps, some plays it doesn't. So you got to know your quarterback. I'm sure their coach will know his players, and I think Jeff said it right. I think Cousins knows he's over there just warming up the spot for the kid. And at some point this year, they'll be bad enough that they'll throw this kid onto the field. And as long as he's not a disaster like J.J. McCarthy or some of these other guys, I think he'll keep the job, and it'll be his going forward. And we'll see how it plays out. But I wouldn't be shocked, Frankie, if after the bye week he finishes up the season. But I think to Jeff's point, there's a really good chance that a lot earlier in the season he could be running around on the field. So
Mendoza?
Yeah.
I listen, they're going to get him out there sooner or later. The fans are going to demand it of him. They're going to want to see what they got in him. You know, they're not going to be a good team. So sooner or later, they're going to start chanting his name. They're going to want to see him. Yeah. You know how it is.
Sure.
The number one pick, and he's not on the field.
Agreed.
So, you know, they'll be bugging out over that. You know that.
Absolutely. Frank Jeffrey, you were, I don't know if you were around, but we were talking about Malik Willis. I'll bring it back up again since he's on the screen. And Jeff was wondering, how do you bring in this guy and then give him basically no real weapons to work with? I know Matt had some nice things to say about Malik Washington and this and that, but, you know, how does this guy come in and prove that he's capable of being the guy for the future there? So you as a Dolphin fan, what do you think? See if Frankie's got anything to say on that. You know, to me, you know, but his development is the best thing in this on week 14. Let's see if Frankie jumps in on the Malik Willis thing before we move on. Again, Hard Rock Sports, Jeff and Tom celebrating 12th anniversary here. So thanks for tuning in.
Now, there's somebody right there. Is what's his story going to be? Kyler Murray. There's a guy who got ran out of Arizona, caught on with Minnesota. But what happens if he has another bad year? But I guess, you know, Justin Fields is still in the league. So that means that, you know, this guy will be there for fucking another 50 years if Justin Fields is still playing.
Frankie, so Frankie, that's basically Jeff's point on the Dolphins is, you know, to me, with the situation they had, I would have just went with what's on their roster, not brought in a guy like Malik Willis, who is going to have a hard time proving his worth with nobody right now. Chain's a great player, but unless you're going to hand the ball off every time or throw him swing passes all day, you know, it's going to be hard for Malik Willis to show himself with a roster that's depleted of real talent on the outside. That was Jeff's point, I believe, right, Jeff?
Yeah, of course. You know, who's their wide receiver? You know, they have a bunch of them on the roster, but do they have a clear-cut number one and number two? Or, you know, I don't know. Listen, I'm glad that, you know, Jets ain't much better, but I'm glad that they have a couple wide receivers at least.
Yeah. Kyler Murray, Jeff, you touched on it. Listen, he should have been cut 3 years ago when the whole thing came out that he basically wasn't studying and he was playing video games and all of that. He's been a bust. Let's call it what it is. The guy's been a bust. You could say he's not terrible. He's not bad. Kyler Murray is a bust. Did not play well in Minnesota because they have nobody else. J.J. McCarthy has been a bust to date. Very average when he did play last year, although they were 6-4 with him under center. You know, the fact that he's in there and he's basically labeled to be the starter this year, Kyler Murray, I think tells you all you need to know. Kyler Murray's a bust and will not. Let's put it this way. Can Kyler Murray go there and have the same kind of season that Sam Darnold had under that coach?
I don't see that. I'm sure. Listen, first of all, he's on a better team than he was last year at this time.
Agreed.
So he's gonna be in a better position.
But maybe a tougher division.
I don't think that he was injured for a while and then he was just playing subpar, shitty. You know, questions about him playing. Who knows if his head is in the game. I don't see him having that much of a resurgence. I think there's a spot for him in the league. I think it'll be as a backup. But, you know, listen, here's his chance to catch on with Minnesota. You know, we'll see what happens, but I don't think it's going to be successful.
Now, if you told me he was coming in to mentor and hang around with a clipboard and the hat backwards as J.J. McCarthy's, you know, backup, I could say, all right, it's smart. He's a solid player. Can come out there, run around a little bit. But if you're going out there and in that division, you're going to try to compete with Kyler Murray as your quarterback. Let me tell you something. If O'Connell turns this guy into the new coming of Sam Darnold, I will tell you that guy is the true quarterback whisperer, and should get a lot of money for fixing other people's quarterbacks. If he does with Kyler Murray what he did with Sam Darnold, I'll be impressed. So we'll see. The Dolphin quarterback, at least he's got. Yeah, no, there's no doubt he's got much more talent up there. Better defense, all that stuff. He's just in a very tough division. That I don't know if he'll be able to compete in that division. So let's see. We'll see how that plays out. We'll move on.
I don't think it's so much that he's not going to be able to compete in that division. I just think that he has much more talent. So you're going to see exactly what he's all about. If he is the quarterback that everybody thought he was just 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
If he has a team around him and he could make it work, maybe I don't think he's going to have a career resurgence like Sam Darnold did. I just don't see that. But listen, is he in the league next year at this time? Definitely, without a doubt.
100%. Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. He'll definitely be in the league. Let's move on to the Patriots. A really great first season under Mike Vrabel. So, Drake May had an MVP regular season, an MVP-like regular season, not so great in the playoffs. They did make a big move with A.J. Brown, although, a little bit of he was chastised by Vrabel for not, one-handing catches and not making the effort. Can the Patriots build on last year? Was it a fluke? Was that 1 year everybody bought in and now it's, and will his controversial offseason affect this team this year, Jeff?
Listen, anything is possible. Honestly, I'm really surprised that he's still on the team, that he's still the coach of the team. I figured that seemed to die rather quickly. As fast as it came up, it seemed to die even faster. So he was kind of lucky in that regard. But anything is possible. We're going to see if this team is for real this year. I think that Buffalo is the better team in the AFC East. I think that the Patriots are, unfortunately, a playoff team. But we will find out. We're going to find out very shortly once the season starts if this guy is for real and if the Patriots are for real. I don't think they're going to surpass the Bills, though. That I don't see that happening.
I would agree with you. I also think that the reason he's still there is if he wasn't the former player handpicked by Kraft, I think Kraft just kind of turned a blind eye. If this was a rookie coach who was a coordinator last year somewhere, I don't think he'd still be on the team this year. I don't think he'd be coaching this year. I think if it was Gerard Mayo still or any other first, second-year coach that was nondescript, because it was Vrabel, because he made the change, Vrabel's still there. I agree with you. I think they will be the second-best team in that division, and they will be a playoff team because I don't think there's a lot of great teams in the AFC. Maybe the Ravens will be good this year. Who's going to be great in the South? Who's going to be great in the West? I mean, the West could have two playoff teams, maybe a third if you believe in the Chargers, who knows? So, but I do think the Patriots won't. I think they'll struggle to make the playoffs. I would be surprised if they were an easy playoff contender. You know what I mean?
The Patriots?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll get in. Listen, last year, you had the Ravens. They had an off season. Pittsburgh wasn't quite what everybody thought they might have been with Aaron Rodgers, but they made it. Cincinnati didn't play well. Kansas City was out. So you'll see. I don't think Vrabel's a bad coach, but let's see what the distraction does to the team this year.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, we've run across the Giants. I'll jump in here. It always scares me, Jeff, when the Giants go into a season with I won't say high expectations. I would just say increased expectations. Where everybody's expecting Dart's going to make another jump this year. That Harbaugh comes in and changes the culture immediately, and we have a very successful season. That it always scares me. Now, do I think it'll be better? Yes. I think this team will be better this year. I don't think they'll lose games like they did last year. I mean, we lost 5 games in the fourth quarter, like 6 minutes left. some embarrassing ones, cost a coach and a defensive coordinator their jobs. What the win total is going to be, we'll figure that out later on. But it does scare me when the Giants go into a season with increased expectations instead of I'm not sure what this team's going to be. It just bothers me. It scares me a little bit.
Well, you want to know something? Increased expectations, but you still don't know what that team is going to be. You're right, because they have to meet those expectations. Things don't go right, you're back to 4-13. If things go right and they learned and they grew from what they did last year, maybe they're 9-8. Who knows? Maybe they could compete for the playoffs. But a team like the Giants, until they put a couple years together, and I'm not saying that they have to go 14-3 this year, but they have to go forward and play good and be solid. If they do, then maybe they can, build off of that for the following year in 2028. I don't see this team as a team to contend for the Super Bowl this year. Maybe a playoff spot, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would agree. I like the balance of the roster. Again, how do they rebound? Abdul Carter had a very up and down year. He was nowhere to be found, suspended twice, missed a couple of quarters of football because of issues. And it seemed like in the last 4 or 5 games, finally woke up and said, I should be playing football. Kayvon Thibodeau has been a trade rumor all off season. Looks like he's going to be a Giant coming into the season. So I wonder how they're going to use him, Burns, Carter, Reese. I'm excited about the defense, although the secondary is still very, very, very scary. Offensively, if Neighbors is healthy, which I doubt he's going to be the Neighbors of 2 years ago, but we'll see. The offensive line should be building on last year. Should be a better competitive team. I don't know how good this is a strange division. I'm curious what everybody thinks of that. The Eagles have had a very tumultuous couple years, right? A very tough year last year, even though made the playoffs. Did not do well. Lots of in-house problems with the quarterback. The Cowboys have improved defensively. Are they a good offense? Can they put it together? The Redskins took a nosedive last year. And the Giants. Is this a weird division, Jeff? Like, I don't know. Are the Eagles still the team to beat? Have the Cowboys jumped up there? Can the Giants jump in the middle there somewhere? Like, where do the Redskins jump back to where they were 2 years ago, fighting for the NFC Championship again? How do you see this division playing out this early?
Oh man, I don't know. First place is a toss-up, I think, between Dallas and Philly. Then the Giants, whoever those Philly and Dallas, whoever them finish first, finish the second. Giants and then Redskins. I don't see the Redskins jumping up and being able to compete for the NFC or even a playoff spot this year. I just think they got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think it's a very competitive division, but not. I don't know if there's a dominant team in that division right now.
Competitive amongst themselves, maybe.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
But not competitive outside the division.
Well, again, we'll get more into that.
Not for the Giants or the Redskins. Maybe for Dallas and Philly. Especially Philly. They were just in the Super Bowl, 3 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
But the Giants are an up and coming team. The Redskins are also an up and coming team, but I just feel as though that they took too big of a step backwards last year.
They did huge, yeah. And other than McLaren at wide receiver, what talent do they really, really have? I don't think Daniels is all that great, and we'll see how he rebounds from a subpar sophomore season. And the coach is on the hot seat. I don't think he's a great coach, Dan Quinn. So it's an interesting division, and I'm going to be, there's a lot of things with the Giants. I'll finish with this. How do they play those guys up front? Like how do they replace Dexter Lawrence? And is Scadaboo your number one back? Is it Tyrone Tracy? Do they make a move for a full-time back before the season starts? Who's the second wide receiver? There's a lot of questions for the Giants. We'll get some answers in the near future. Let's go. Oh, well, here we go. So the next team, the New York Jets, a very improved roster. They helped themselves, Jeff, with a nice draft, and they should have another nice draft next year. Obviously, some big holes, quarterback, right? We're still not sure if there's a second big offensive weapon next to Garrett Wilson, and how does the defense rebound from last year? Now, they did pick up some veterans on the defense, Demario Davis, right? Minka Fitzpatrick. So should be an improved team. Big questions at quarterback, big questions at coach. Go ahead.
Well, listen, what could be said? I feel as though that every year when they every season when they have a great draft, because we've heard about these great drafts in the past.
Yep.
The same thing happens, and then half the guys they drafted end up getting cut or dropped within a season or two of being drafted and brought to the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
When you're worth more trade capita than you are being on the team, that's a problem.
Yep.
I do think that the Jets, the only thing they do have going for themselves is that they have enough young guys that if they start to get good, maybe you have a base where they're going to be 2 to 3 years apart from one another.
Yep.
So you can get a complete team together and maybe make it work for a couple seasons. But until they do it, you have to question it. And that's how I look at it. Nothing is set in stone. They didn't do anything yet. All they did was draft 3 players, and hopefully they filled some holes. I feel as though the Jets are going to win enough games this year to put themselves right out of the quarterback race, and that they're going to be lucky to have the 3 first-round draft picks, because it's going to cost them that and then some to get to the player that they want. I just don't see them. They're not going to just finish in second or third, overall and be able to pick who they want. They're going to have to give up a lot of shit to get a quarterback this year. You watch it, I promise you. So those 3 picks, be lucky that they should be happy they got them, because they're going to need them. They'll get one pick out of there, I feel.
Well, listen, I think this is a quarterback heavy draft coming up. Now, again, we haven't even played game 1 of the college football season, so we'll really get a better handle on, all these guys taking to the next step. Is Arch Manning moving in the right direction? So we'll see. It's a long way off. I do think the Jets will win more games. I think they are a deeper team than they were last year. But again, they had some stars in Quentin Williams and Sauce Gardner, and then they still sucked, and they traded both of those guys. Now, I love the trades. I think Muji did a nice job bringing in.
Yeah, but all you got picks for these guys, of course. Yes, and that's great. Now you have to replace the players that you got rid of.
Correct.
And they weren't, players that you would find in the middle of the draft. They weren't free agents. These were players that had a lot of upside at the time they were drafted.
Yeah, absolutely.
And were, first round picks, frontline players.
Guys that you were going to build your team around for the next decade.
Yeah. So now, you got rid of them, you got to replace them with a high caliber player too. And that's going to take time and cost money and players. So you got 3 first round picks this year. Okay, that's awesome. You may have to use all 3 to move up to get a quarterback. Listen, in a perfect world, the kid that they drafted in the 4th round shows something, and they're like, "Holy shit, we may have our guy right here." Well, and he outplays expectations, and then they could use 3 first round picks on holes that they want to plug all over the place.
Yeah, in fact, I was just going to bring it up to you that one of the common things I read today going into the show was that Cade Klubenak has had a very impressive early start to the camp. Now, it's very early. His offseason's been really well, and people are very impressed. So to your point, if they were to maybe not start out so well, or Gino wasn't playing well, and this kid came in and surprisingly played well. Now, again, you can have a situation where you got kind of a Mike White thing where guy has no expectation, comes in, plays really well. You don't draft another quarterback because you think you got your guy, and then he comes back down to earth. I think the Jets are in a really tough spot. What you'd have to hope for is, if you're the Jets, you're praying that this kid is the next Tom Brady-ish type of guy. You're drafting him low, plays really well, and you don't have to use your draft picks next year on a quarterback. That would be the best. That would be the best thing ever. Is it likely to happen? No, probably not.
You got to hope that he's one of 2 things: that he either really is really good, or he really, really sucks.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then you're going to get nothing
100%.
out of him. He cannot be a mediocre player.
100%, because then you're stuck in the middle. Because then you wind up
Yeah.
using the draft pick on a quarterback, and then you wind up
Well,
being Cleveland
and then
Browns.
you end up questioning, like, is this guy worth anything? Do we take a chance with him? Do we try?
I agree.
So, I don't know. I don't know.
Very
It's
tough spot, but he's going to get a lot of looks. He'll probably play a lot in the preseason, and maybe they found, they caught lightning in a bottle, and this kid plays really well. Philadelphia Eagles, Jeff, Hurts had a big hit off season. They've had problems with their coaching staff. Their coaches on the fire. They just won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Barkley went from a 2,000-yard season to a 12 or 13 or 1,400-yard season.
which, by the way, is still great.
It's still a good season, 100%. They trade their best wide receiver. There's all sorts of controversy. The quarterback won't do what the coordinators want. He wants one thing, they want. Jalen Hurts has slipped a little bit. I think he's overrated. Jeff, do we expect a big turnaround and a big comeback for the Philadelphia Eagles?
I think that they're going to be first in their division.
Okay.
But I mean, somebody has to finish first in that division.
That's true.
I think if they were in another division, they wouldn't be the best team. I don't think they would be the front runner in another division.
I agree.
I think that they have hope and help because there's two teams in their division that are not ready yet. And listen, you also got Dallas. Every year that we hear the same thing about Dallas, and then something happens, somebody gets hurt, or that team seems to be out of it by Thanksgiving. So you got to see what happens.
Very true. Let's move on. We're running out of time here. Aaron Rodgers, Jeff, will make this the last story of the day. Aaron Rodgers, a remarkably quiet offseason for a guy who's dominated the off seasons of the last few years. An odd team, been very mediocre. Coach, longtime successful coach, gone. An older coach, which is against their norm, hiring, and a quarterback that probably is on his last contract last year with a team that nobody's expecting much from. What's your thoughts on the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers?
Tom, I used to like Aaron Rodgers. I liked Aaron Rodgers a lot. Okay, before he was with the Jets, I liked Aaron Rodgers. I hate Aaron Rodgers now. I think that he is just a pain in the fucking balls. I'm glad that the Jets don't have him anymore. Not because he's not a great player, not because he's not a good player, but because of what he does with teams and just waits till like the last possible second. Now, unless he told Pittsburgh, I'm coming back, but I'm not saying anything till well after the draft. All you're doing is hurting your team's chances. To me, at least. I don't know how you feel about it. I just don't like the idea of them doing that.
I think he had all intentions.
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Can't hear you.
Really?
Can't hear you.
Can anybody hear me? I
can't hear you.
I didn't change anything on my end.
You can hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
When you shut the computer, whatever it is you did, you shut a computer or something?
I just shut off one of the.
I can't hear you.
Really?
Check your buttons. I saw a light go out, and then I couldn't hear you no more.
Interesting. I don't know.
I can't hear a word you're saying, man.
Yeah, Catalano says he hears both.
Can't hear nothing.
Catalano hears both of us. Yeah, I don't know why. Anthony,
you hear us both?
Yeah.
I don't hear Frank. I don't hear Tommy at all.
Yeah, I don't know. My mic's on. Everything's good here. Volume's all the way up.
I don't know. You did something when you what did you shut over there? Did you shut the computer?
No, computer's on. All I did was shut one. All I did was.
I don't know. Whatever it is that you did, I seen you a light go out, and then from when that happened, I don't hear you.
Interesting.
I don't hear anything you're saying.
That's interesting. But Catalano,
Frank keeps hearing you though.
Yeah, Frank's hearing us. Anthony can hear me as well. You're the only one that can't hear me, Jeff.
Well, Anthony, I can't hear you or Frank either. But then again, I can't hear as it is, but I can't hear Tommy.
Yeah, I just posted you a message. Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing here, nothing different. Hold on. Mute mic. don't know.
I don't know, Tom. I can't hear you,
I don't know. Yeah,
but they can hear me.
Yeah, they
And
can
you
hear
can
you.
hear me.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
I
know
didn't
why.
touch nothing.
No, me either. I just shut down the screens. That's normal. I don't know. Maybe we're just gonna wrap it up and call it a night. Based
I
on that.
can't hear you. So yeah, I guess I don't know what the problem is. Unless you figure it out. We only got a few minutes left anyway.
I'm just letting Joe. I got Jeff. I want to wrap it up. I'm gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, I saw that. I was able to see that.
Okay. All right, guys. So we're gonna wrap it up. Say goodnight to Jeff. We'll say bye-bye.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
You got it.
Have a good night, man.
All right. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for jumping on with us tonight. We really appreciate it. Frank Catalano, I'll get a message out to your godson. I want to thank all of you guys for participating and helping out. Matt, Frank, Anthony, Frankie, all you guys. It's been a pleasure. Love doing the show with you guys. Good night. We'll be back next week. We'll do this all over again. I think there may be some time coming up, but listen, enjoy the football next Thursday night, first game of the season, Hall of Fame game. The 13th, I believe, is the 13th is the complete opening of the NFL preseason. If you like to watch preseason games, either way, please stay safe, please stay healthy, enjoy your weekend. August is around the corner. Summer's coming to an end, so get out there and enjoy yourself. In the meantime, come back next week when Jeff and I do this all over again. So for Jeff and myself and everybody here at Hard Rocket Sports, I say have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week, a great next week, and come on back next Thursday when Jeff and I get to do it all over again. Thank you all. Happy anniversary to Jeff. And guys, stay healthy, and I'll see you next Thursday night.